So, very first thing that I do with any person that I'm working with, whether they're a student in my course or they're a client in my membership, is we start with clarity. We think about what I like to call your guiding principles, which are your why for learning languages. Why are you learning these languages in the first place? What drew you to learning these languages? What is your vision? How do you see yourself using the languages that you're learning? And so when you identify your why, then you're able to craft a plan that is really tailored and aligned to you and your needs versus you choosing a plan that someone else made and trying to follow that and then wondering why it's not working. It's because it wasn't made for you, it wasn't meant for you. So, getting that clarity first in your language studies is going to help you create the plan that is meant for you and that works for you. And that's going to help you to be motivated because anytime you stray off the path, anytime, someone's like, "Hey, I got this new textbook," or "I found this new series that's teaching the language that you're learning," you're like, "No, I don't need that. Look away. Don't pay attention to it," because you go back to your why. What is my focus? Some of the examples that I like to give is people who say, "I want to improve my speaking," and they're working primarily in a textbook. Not to say that a textbook can't help you with your speaking, because it's giving you grammar, it's giving you vocab, it's helping you recognize patterns in sentences and work on sentence structure and sentence building, all of those pieces that impact your speaking. But it is really easy to get caught up in, and I'm holding up the textbook that I have right here. It's really easy to get caught up in reading and not actually speaking the language. Like a lot of textbooks come with CDs nowadays, or at least MP3 audios that you can download. But if you're not using it and practicing and shadowing and actually opening your mouth to talk, you're not going to improve the thing that is your why, which is speaking to another person in the language that you're learning. And then, the reverse is someone who's like, I want to improve my reading and my writing. And they sign up for this class that someone recommended that's a conversation class. Why are you in a conversation class if you want to improve your reading and your writing? If anything, you should be using the textbook, or you should sign up for a class that's focused on like writing responses. You maybe outside of class answer questions and write them down, and then you turn them in for class to get feedback and answers and then keep improving. Like that's what you should be focused on. But if you don't have that clarity, if you don't know your why and all those other clarity pieces, you're not really gonna recognize that that's a problem. You're not gonna recognize that, "Wait a minute, I'm not even doing the thing that I should be doing right now. I am way off track." So, we start off with that why. And then the second question that, you can ask yourself, so the first one is like, what is your guiding principle? What is your why for learning languages? The second question is, like, what does progress look like for you? So, like, what results are you hoping to achieve? What is your end goal? And I say this in quotes because we're always learning, we're always progressing, and these things can change. But as you stand right now, thinking about the language or the languages that you want to learn, how do you see yourself using these languages? How do you see yourself using them? Do you see yourself talking and be specific? Not just talking, but talking with my friends, whether you have those friends right now or not. Talking with my family, using it at work to communicate or to write down things. Maybe you want to become a translator. Maybe you don't. Maybe you want to go abroad and teach. Maybe you don't want to go abroad. Maybe you just want to read books. Maybe you're just like, oh, I got this book here from Talk to Me in Korean, and I am determined to read this book. Or I have some manhwa and some manga on my like iPad, and I just want to understand what these are without having to get the translation. If that is the progress that you want to make to be able to read these books or to talk with these specific people that you've named, that's not only your why, but that's what progress looks like to you. Because this is, for example, if this is a book that you want to read and you're saying, my goal is to be able to read books like this, then as you start to practice and study, you're going to keep coming back to this book and you're going to see progress because you'll understand a little bit more and a little bit more. Like for me, this is a full length novel that even I can't read fully on my own. But I recently looked back at it and was rereading it from the beginning, and so it's a bilingual book. Half of it's in Korean, the other half is in English, and I just ignored the English. And so as I was reading it, like my brain was just like, wait, you understood that. But like when I first bought this years ago, couldn't understand anything outside of like snow, cafe, also house, you know? And then now it's like the grammar's connecting and the additional vocab is connecting. And this is your way to measure your progress. Because if you're not able to understand more than you could before, then that's a sign that you're not really targeting the thing that you're trying to target, which is understanding books like this. And you need to reconfigure that plan that you're creating for your language studies. So, what's your guiding principle, your why for learning languages, and then what does progress look like for you, or what are you hoping to achieve? Those are the first two questions that I would ask myself and I ask my students and my clients when it comes to study motivation. If you are joining right now, we're talking about motivation and confidence as language learners. I am here on YouTube and here on TikTok. So if I'm looking all over the place, it's because I am multitasking right now. Um, and if you're just tuning in, don't worry. This video is going to be repurposed and configured, cut out a little bit. So, or cut so it's easy to digest, I guess. And I'm going to be putting it up on my YouTube channel. So if you don't catch the whole thing, don't worry. It's going to be on my YouTube channel by the end of the week, hopefully, if I can get it done. Fingers crossed, at least part of it. So we have those two questions. And then the third question is like, who are the people or the communities that are inspiring you or that inspire you to keep going? This is a question that I ask myself and my students and clients all the time when we're trying to find and stay motivated. Again, motivation should not be the foundation of your language studies and your routine or your journey. But if you are struggling for motivation, you've identified your why, you've come back to your, guiding principle, you've thought about what progress looks like for you and really highlighted how you're going to see that progress because you can't it's hard to make progress if you don't know what kind of progress you're expecting to see. Then you go, okay, what communities can I surround or can I join? What kind of people can I surround myself with that are going to help keep me motivated? And that might be people who are studying languages in general. That might be people who are studying the exact same languages as you. It might just be a community, meaning a teacher that is really supportive to you, or like myself, a language coach. There are lots of us out here at this point. And so one of my jobs is to help inspire and motivate and help keep my students and my clients accountable to the plans that they've created, while also helping people to actually create those plans that are aligned to you and your needs as a language learner. So if you can't think of or find a person, a group, a community, then my recommendation is two places. The first is the amazing Gladly Global community, which is filled with many, many language learners who are learning all different kinds of languages, both really well-known languages and not common, so often indigenous languages as well. But if you want something that's, I don't want to even say if it's something a little bit more tailored, but if you're looking for a little bit of both, you're looking for the community of learners and you're looking for coaching support and sort of the things that I help and support people with, which is creating consistency, making it sustainable, staying motivated, building your confidence, making more progress so you can use the languages that you're learning, then you can also join my free Facebook group. And that is all linked here, both TikTok and on YouTube. You can find that. And when you join that group, I can just direct you to Gladly Global as well, because both resources, it's kind of like how I talk about the combination of teachers and coaches and how we work so well together. But that's another conversation. But really, it's just you're with this community of people who are learning the language with you to help keep you accountable, because you have a buddy to study with and might be able to guide and direct you. But really, the focus of that is like, I want people to study with so I can practice the exact language that I'm learning. But you might need some additional support. You might need someone to help you map out a plan for yourself beyond class, beyond that study buddy, or helping you to figure out how can I incorporate working with this language exchange partner or my study buddy that I found. How can I incorporate that into the rest of my life? And that's one of the things that I do. I'm a nerd when it comes to organization and planning and figuring it out in the schedule and making it sustainable. So Yeah, free Facebook group is like, if nothing else, join there and I will help figure it out and we'll work on it together. But you got to surround yourself with people who are embodying the kind of language learner that you want to be. If you surround yourself with language learners who are constantly ragging on other language learners, who are constantly just like, This community is toxic and there are, we need to do," like, is basically surround if you're surrounding yourself by language learners who do not represent your values as a person or a language learner, you need to leave that community and you need to find a different one. Um, because it's really going to impact your mindset, whether you realize it or not. And the thoughts you have impacts the feelings you have, which impact your actions. And one of the quotes that I love because of how powerful and valid it is whether you think you can or think you can't, you are right. So if you think you can't do this, if you think you can't learn languages, if you think that all the negative things you've heard about learning languages is all that is there, then yeah, you're right. That's all that's going to happen. And then your actions are going to help reinforce that belief. But if you truly believe that you can, you truly believe it's possible and you're just not sure of where to start, that's when you go and seek help. Seek help. It sounds like I'm saying the therapist, although sometimes I feel like I am a language learning therapist. That's when you go out to get support from people like a language learning community like Gladly Global, or working with me as your language coach, because it's okay to ask for help and we shouldn't have to feel like we have to do this journey all on our own. Like, the goal of language learning, whether you are planning to talk with another person or you're someone who wants to consume content, is it's interactive. You're interacting with the content that someone else made, or you're interacting with another human being. And so at some point, interacting is going to happen. Maybe you're going to find people with similar interests in K-dramas and music, or telenovelas, or, comics in French, or whatever it is that you are interested and excited about. But you need to surround yourself with those people and continue to foster and engage with that excitement and that inspiration, while also not letting it impact your, mindset. Because sometimes if you see other people doing well, many people will also feel bad about their own progress. And that goes all the way back to what we started at the beginning, which is about confidence. And if you ever feel like you're not doing enough, you need to evaluate what is enough to you. Like, what is that definition of enough? What do you feel like is enough? And then you need to compare that with your actuality. Like, what can you actually do? Is this something you can actually do? Or is this ideal? This is your ideal life, ideal self, but is not your right now. Because I think sometimes when we have these expectations for ourselves, we're saying, this is what I want to do or need to do or have to do, but it's not realistic. It's not realistic for you at all. And so, as I'm checking here, oh, have we been on for 54 minutes? That's amazing. I'm just looking at the YouTube version. So I hope that all of this was helpful, both for the people who are live and the people who are watching this later, because I am going to cut up this video and it'll probably be in like 2 or 3 parts. But I really just wanted to break down the 3 different ways that you can boost your motivation and the 3 different ways that you can boost your confidence.